So I wasn't really sure if I should upload this on my main channel or my other channel, but I feel like it would be right to upload it here. Also, I will let you all know that there will be categories on this video, so if you want to skip to the important parts, feel free to use it. Oh, and also I recommend checking out the document first before watching this video, but if you don't feel like reading, then feel free to continue watching. Okay, so if you are out of the loop, a bunch of Angry Birds fans decided to make a letter, aka the Google document, where they share their thoughts about both Angry Birds franchise and Ruyo itself. And I decided to make a video where I also share my thoughts and tell what I would like for Ruyo to do. So in this category I will be giving context about who I am, and since this category isn't really important, you can skip to the next category or timestamp. Hi, I'm Fanboy, and I go by the username as AngryBirdsFanboy06. And if you ever watched my channel, you will know that I haven't made any single Angry Birds videos before. And that's because I'm no longer interested in mobile gaming. Well, except for Netflix games, but we will talk about that later. And can you really blame me? Most mobile games nowadays are either Candy Crush clones or lame cash grab games. Now, of course, there are some exceptions, but unfortunately for Ruyo, they decided to go for the Candy Crush clone / lame crash grab games type of route, which is really a shame. To see something that I love turn into this?
Wow! Have you ever seen an Angry Birds game quite like this? You should kill yourself now!
Well, it sucked. And honestly, if I never played Angry Birds in 2010 or 2011, I don't know, I forgot. When I was like a child, it probably would have never made me into a furry. Yep, I'm fucking serious. Angry Birds for me was the first step to turn me into a furry, and this was before I even knew furries even existed. Although, to be fair, Roblox is the main reason why I became a furry. Anyway, back to the topic. Angry Birds is also the first fandom I ever joined, and this is honestly the most important part for me. Angry Birds is the reason why I wanted to make YouTube videos. Without Angry Birds, I probably wouldn't be a furry or even be interested in making videos. Okay, let's begin with minor topics that I want to point out before we get to the juicy part. First, let's talk about Angryverse. Now, let me be honest, I don't really care. I'm pretty sure it only exists because of Spider-Verse movies. Next is Red taking over the Angry Birds social media accounts. Yeah, this one honestly is not that bad. I actually really like it, especially the part where Red was having beef with Cult of the Lamp Twitter account. And then they fucking got married. Like,
weather update.
Like, no exaggeration, that was fucking funny. Next we are gonna talk about Joe, the non-binary bird. I personally really like it, and was also glad that they made something new that could be a part of the flock. Sadly, it was only used for Pride Month, and being used as a duck spell in Angry Birds 2. Why? It's honestly kinda sad that they only use Joe for Pride Month and nothing else. Also, Melody as well feels like she isn't being used fully. Like, she only exists in Angry Birds 2. In fact, I feel like both Joe and Melody are not being used to the fullest potential, which is kind of a shame. Okay, before we get to the juicier parts, I want to give out some thoughts that other fans from the Angry Birds fandom said.
It's been hard to tolerate anything Rovio does recently, and I think they don't have a clear path on what to do next.
I just want to see every Angry Birds game back on the store, except the licensed ones, knowing that the licenses to the franchises on these games are now expired. Those games were a big part of my childhood.
Sega, where are you right now?
Wow, It Is Like This has been a thing since 2015.
Those birds are no longer angry.
I'm sad because I would love to play Angry Birds seasons again.
I'm losing interest in Angry Birds since 2020. I love Angry Birds so much. It is a good game. But now Rovio just keeps making things much worse in the franchise. I just hope Sega can fix it after Sega buys Rovio, like they did with Sonic.
Honestly, I'm really disappointed in what Rovio is doing and what these stupid things led to. I just want to come back to the times when this was about a cool slingshot game in the classic design and when it was not about just throwing some shit at fans. Rovio, reconsider it.
I left this franchise for good since the first movie was released. Both didn't satisfy me at all. And the situation right now is getting escalated, but not surprised since I've seen everything. It's a pity to see how a franchise that once fascinated millions of people is going through a downturn. Today's situation really resembles the difficult times for Angry Birds in 2018-2019, when the franchise was experiencing serious problems. As fans of the Angry Birds franchise, we naturally feel disappointed when expectations are not met.
In all seriousness, the Angry Birds series has gone down a slow decline, and this saddens me because I grew up with Angry Birds. I met my first real friend because of it, and got to see a school buddy cry over fan animation.
Honestly feels like they've gotten complacent with where they're at and refuse to listen to fan feedback. They're chasing after an audience that'll move to the next thing at the drop of a dime while alienating their core audience. It's fool's gold.
As much as I love Angry Birds, I can't deny that the series has really been going through a huge decline recently.
I miss the old games.
I miss 2012 to 2015.
I'm hoping that Sega will help turn the ship around later down the line, because at this point I feel horrible for the community and what it's been putting with.
Not gonna lie, I was gonna get back into Angry Birds after being away from it for a few years. What the fuck happened?
With respect to the document, I think it is perfect that you have organized to send a document compiling and protesting the disrespect that Rovio has had with its star franchise over the years. And I completely agree with the document. Since I have been a fan of Angry Birds since 2012, I'm really quite disappointed with the current state of the franchise, and I hope that this document can be heard by the executives of Rovio, because it just makes me angry to see how they continue to sink the franchise that I love with every game they put out.
Honestly, I wish I could show more, but holy shit, this is fucking long!
Weather update.
Hey, Future Fanboy here. So while I was working on this video, I decided to get footage from the original document, and while I was doing that, I found out this letter is now 19 pages long. So like, it's still going. I feel like it's going to be 100 pages long. So if you haven't checked the newer if you haven't checked the document like when it was updated, please do, and especially when you're a Rovio employee. I reckon keep a look at this document, since I'm pretty sure it's gonna get updated way more. So yeah, so let's talk about what you all been waiting for. First, let's talk about Rovio's advertising and trailers. Now, I want to thank both Mayo GP. I am so sorry if I mispronounced that. And Session_2.0 for pointing this out. If you look back at old trailers and advertisements Rovio did, they were very high quality and very well made. And a lot of people liked it. Now, what about 2023? What the fuck is this? Yep, they switched to doing low effort advertisements similar to the newer mobile ads. Now, what about trailers? This looks like fucking ass. Oh, and do you want to know something fucked up about this trailer? I got used to this type of style, which is a fucking problem. Now, why, you might be asking? It legit shows that we got used to what Rovio has been feeding garbage to us, which is a fucking nail in the coffin, and it also gives out a bad representation to both the franchise and the brand. Now let's talk about the removal of old games. So in 2019, Rovio out of nowhere decided to remove some of the old games, which include the following: Angry Birds Classic, Angry Birds Season, Angry Birds Rio, Angry Birds Space, Angry Birds Star Wars 1 and 2, Angry Birds Go, and also Angry Birds Epic. However, it is not fully removed, it's just hidden and can still be downloaded. Now, I will give Rio some slack. Angry Birds Classic, Angry Birds Seasons, and Angry Birds Space ain't old, and they're using old engines and stuff. And both Rovio and Star Wars are now owned by Disney, and that will require a new license, both Rio and Star Wars branding. However, why on earth was Angry Birds Go removed? Like, wasn't there a 2.0 version? I'm pretty sure, like, there's a newer engine and stuff. Like, it doesn't add up. And also, why on earth was Angry Birds Epic delisted, but still downloadable from the official app stores? Like, huh?
Weather update.
Hey, future fanboy here again. So I just found a discovery that Angry Birds Go is still available. I didn't fucking know that. Like, I thought it got completely removed, but it turns out it's just delisted. But that makes me confused. Like, why were like some Angry Birds games removed, but others were like left delisted? Like, huh? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Also, speaking of which, I couldn't find Angry Birds Epic on Google search. Like, it was like I couldn't fucking find it. It was like fucking hidden on like even on the Google search. Like, if I searched Angry Birds Epic Google Play, you see it doesn't show up. Only Angry Birds 2, and it always says Angry Birds Epic is like fucking removed. So I don't know why the fuck Angry Birds Epic is like not showing up on Google Play, on Google's search results, but it's still available. Like, it works on mobile devices as well. Angry Birds Go, not so much. It only works on older versions of Android, which it's kind of sucks, but hey, at least you can still play the game if you have an older Android device, so I guess it's not very big of an issue. But like, I'm so confused, like, what the fuck is happening? And also, speaking of which, I accidentally found Amazon's, like, I found out Rio had some of old Angry Birds games still available through Amazon. I didn't fucking know that. Like, there's Angry Birds Space, Angry Birds Go, Angry Birds Epic, Angry Birds Seasons. There's also another Angry Birds Space one, but it's not the non-free version. Yeah, I'm getting fucking confused. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, huh? It doesn't make any sense. I'm so confused. Oh, and speaking of which, I only own Android phone devices. I only own Android devices, so I don't really know what is with. So I'm not really sure if it's even possible to even install these old games on iPhone, because I'm not an Apple user. Like, I only know that Angry Birds Epic is quote-unquote still on the App Store, but hidden. But like, I'm not sure if it's even downloadable. And for Angry Birds Go, I'm not sure if it's completely removed on the App Store. So like, I don't know, this is just a complete fucking mess, to be honest. But wait a minute, fanboy, you might be asking. You forgot about 2 games that also got removed. Well, that's because it deserves its own dedicated subcategory. In 2017, Angry Birds Fight was not only removed, but it also had its own servers shut down, making the game unplayable. And for those people who don't know what Angry Birds Fight is, it's a 3-match game. But the birds are fucking beating the shit out of themselves. And pigs, Rio. Why does a 3-match game need a server to be playable? Why not make the game, oh I don't know, work offline? Like, in the game, there are pigs that are NPC enemies, meaning it isn't controlled by a player. What the hell is this? Hey, due to me being a dumbass, I forgot to mention this, but there is a fan-made project called Angry Birds Fight Reboot. It's where they're basically bringing back the old game, and it's very impressive what they did. Unfortunately, this happened. Yeah, it's a fucking long story short. Something bad happened to the Angry Birds modding community. It's a long. However, let's move on to the next category. However, I feel like Angry Birds Stella got mistreated.
Weather update. Shut up!
Hey, so funny story. Actually, I am a fucking idiot. I don't know how the fuck I missed this, but it turns out the game got removed in October 18, 2016, and not 2015. However, there are still some problems I have with Angry Birds Stella, like they discontinued the game at an unfinished state. Like there was a part where it said coming soon, but they didn't do anything, which kinda sucked. In the Angry Birds Pop, they just removed the Stella branding. It used to be called Angry Birds Stella Pop, which kinda fucking sucks, to be honest. So I was basically angry over nothing, but it's just I don't know how to fucking say it. This is just fucking disappointing. I don't know what the fuck Rovio is even doing anymore. Also, I'm not sure if this game is even using a newer engine. While I'm looking at it, I feel like it might be using the same engine, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm so confused what the fuck is even happening at this point. Also, I might as well say this, but there's also Angry Birds, the Royal Classics Angry Birds brand, and I might as well say this, but like, this was fucking this was like a fucking disaster. Like, they legit like removed the Google Play version. Like, this is just fucking stupid. Are you fucking... It legit pisses me off what the fuck they're trying to even do at this point. This is just confusing. And plus it was also buggy and shit. It was just a fucking disaster. I'm gonna replace the old clips with this because like it's just a waste of time. God damn it. I'm just finding so many stuff that I didn't even realize. God damn it. Unfortunately, it gets even worse. Remember Tiny Thief, Amazing Alex, Plunder Pirates, Retry, and much more? You know, the games that got Rovio some awards? Well, guess what? They're also gone. Now yes, some of the games are old or don't have the license from the original developers from Rovio Stars or Level 11, but do you want to hear something fucked up? Most, if not all of these games are basically lost to media now. Like, sure, it's not quote unquote fully lost to media, but like, there aren't any actual working versions. So like, you know, like take Tiny Thief for example. There are no APKs of the game, and most of the APKs are either broken or even worse, having malware or Trojans, or even both. Rovio, are you really okay with people who are getting themselves in danger by wanting to play an old game they wanted to play? Regardless if it's an Angry Birds game or not, you should try to make your games, like your old games, still be available regardless if you need to be updated or not. It would be better to have an actual way to play these games in a safe way that doesn't get the player in danger. Honestly, I never understood why they picked "We craft joy" as a slogan. I mean, yeah, you did craft it, Joy. Too bad it's been 7 fucking years since you did crafted any new joy. Nowadays, you're just crafting lame cash grabs and clones like Sugar Blast. Bitch, this is just fucking Angry Birds Dream Blast just with a coat of paint! And also, speaking of Sugar Blast, when I was playing Angry Birds Epic, I saw a lot of ads based around this shitty ass game. And holy shit, I fucking hated it. The only time I ever got happy over a Sugar Blast ad is when these ugly pieces of shit got burnt in lava. No, seriously, that was an actual ad. And for Small Town Murders, sorry, but I ain't getting any awards from that shit. Actually, speaking of awards, Rovio, do you want to know why you got awards back then? It's because you actually took effort. You'll even mention it in your Angry Birds Timeline series, and no one is going to give you awards for making games that look fucking identical as other mobile games. And no, the 2022 award doesn't fucking count. This is not what I would call crafting joy. This is what I would call crafting disappointment. Actually, that would be a better slogan for a company like this, not gonna lie. However, there's something I believe that could possibly fix this. Okay, why Netflix games, you might be asking? Well, Netflix games is basically Apple Arcade, but for both iOS and Android. Plus, Netflix has something unique that a normal modern mobile game can't. Having no ads, no microtransactions, it can be played offline while supporting the developer by being in a subscription service where you could also watch TV shows and movies. And for those who are wondering, but what games are on Netflix? Well, there's fucking Balloons Tower Defense 6. Yo, this is fucking awesome, holy shit! There's Sonic Prime Dash, which is just Sonic Dash, but with a code of fame of a Netflix or animated original show called Sonic Prime. But hey, at least it doesn't have ads or microtransactions. And also, I'm fucking addicted at playing this game. Fuck me. There's Cats and Soap, an adorable, cute simulator game. Finally, I can play this game without worrying about not supporting the developer profitably. There's Cut the Rope Daily, where each day you get one new level to play, and you have a streak and stuff. It's a really cool game. And other 50+ games. So, should Rio add all of the old Angry Birds games on Netflix game? No. Well, at least not yet. What I want Rio to do on Netflix is to add old non-Angry Birds games. And I mean like the good ones. Like Tiny Thief, Amazing Alex, Retry, these types of good games. Not fucking Sugar Blast. Now, why? Why launch non-Angry Birds games first? You probably might be asking. Well, it could give Rio a chance to have other IPs that could possibly be successful, and possibly no need for Angry Birds being milked to fucking death. And why not also have a dedicated roadmap page, similar to Roblox's creator roadmap, but for Rio fans. It will make Rio more honest, and also show what games would be launched, especially for Netflix. Said some people would be upset that non-Angry Birds games would get launched first, but I feel like it would give non-Angry Birds IPs have a chance, because if Angry Birds launched first, rather than the non-Angry Birds IPs, then it would be just repeating its history. Like, trust me, Rio tried many times to make something unique that isn't Angry Birds related, and it always fucking flops. So I really think Rio could have a chance to make other new IPs, like other new original IPs that aren't fucking similar to 3-match games. Oh, and speaking of Angry Birds being on Netflix, after Rio releases all of the non-Angry Birds games first, I would like Angry Birds Stellar to be launched first. The reason why I want Angry Birds Stellar to launch first is because, first of all, it was the first popular Angry Birds game to get removed, and it was also left in an unfinished state, so giving it another shot could maybe help. Next would be Angry Birds Fight, then Go, maybe even Angry Birds Epic, and then I would make Classic, Seasons, and Space into one single app, sort of as a trilogy collection, similar to Angry Birds Trilogy. And who knows, if you ever get a license from Disney to use both Rio and Star Wars branding, you could make a Disney Trilogy collection version, which would include Angry Birds Rio and Angry Birds Star Wars 1 and 2. Speaking of this collection type, why not also make a full-on collection called Rio Archive, where you re-released some older games that were made before Angry Birds even existed into a single app. Like Show Rio, Toto, I forgot the names already. Honestly, there are so many ways Rio could do with Netflix games. It could legit give Rio have a chance to make cooler, original, fun, and unique games that could get popular without needing to follow trends, like 3-match games. I could go on and on about Netflix games, but it's time I should move on. Rovio is currently in a shitty position, and that's kinda understandable considering what they did. Now, I might as well say this, but please do not harass anyone that works at Rovio. This is more of telling the higher-ups at the company to fix their shit. Also, I do want to apologize if I did went a little bit too far. Looking back at what I wrote, I feel like I was too toxic. However, like, can you really blame me for acting like this? Considering what the company did to their brand and franchise, it's honestly understandable why me and other fans are fucking pissed. Oh, and sorry for anyone who worked very hard at recent Rovio games, but it's really hard to notice any effort put into it, especially with Sugar Blast. Like, for real, you legit need to do like you're so like a fucking energy type thing just to find the effort the developers put into it. It's fucking invisible. Oh, and sorry for simping about Netflix games way too much, but like, it legit has potential to bring back the old era of mobile gaming, and I'm not the only one who thinks of that. I will probably do a dedicated video about Netflix games later, but not today for now. And for those people who have subscribed to my Roblox animations, don't worry, I'm still working on a few other animations. I just really want to spread my thoughts about this. And big shout out to Angry Birds Facts Advents, Angry Birds Network Advents, The Fast Guy, also known as a Random Dude's Angry Birds Opinions, and other Angry Birds fans who share their thoughts in the document. Without them, I probably wouldn't even have made this video in the first place. I'll be also listing the names of the people who shared their thoughts in the document as a shout out. You are legends. Also, I'm late to the party, but Sega has officially bought Rovio, so if any Sega employees are watching, first of all, hi. Second of all, please do something about this, because it's very fucking awful what Rovio did. Like it's kind of fucking heartbreaking what they did. So yeah. Oh, and for anyone who is a fan of my channel, which I kinda doubt, sorry it took me 2 weeks to finish this video. I've been kinda busy, and next week me and my parents are gonna be fixing a other house we now own. So I won't have time to make another video or a short. So yeah, sorry. Oh, and big thank you for watching me share my thoughts about a franchise that I really care about. So yeah, thank you and have a nice day. Oh, and fucking remove Sugar Blast already, please.